So today I'm working in my small craft journal. I did take some white paint and just do some brush strokes in the background there. And now I'm tearing apart some of the paper Artsy collage paper. Just picking some images out of there that I'll just to start a background. So using some fluid matte medium to stick that down, I put lots of it, some underneath and some on top. I'm just going to hold that there. It'll never come back up again. So just any place that I'm going to put the collage paper, I'm using that fluid matte medium. And even going over the ditch between the pages, the collage paper is thin enough that it's not going to cause any kind of binding or issues when you open and close the pages. And I like that look of when your design crosses over both pages. It just helps to tie them together like it's one piece. And then here I'm taking some Dina Wakley paint and going through a stencil. I will try to find the name of the paint and the stencil and put that in the description below, in case that's something that you want to use. And just adding some color to the pages, going right over the collage paper. So parts of it may be hidden, parts of it you can see. It's just starting to build up some layers. And adding some color to the page at this point. And there's what it's looking like so far. So then I just take some of the leftover paint and putting it onto a white tag. Just at this point it was just to use up the extra paint rather than wipe it up and throw it away. Just use it on a tag. So then here I'm taking some more of the Dina Wakley paints and just doing a coat of that. You can see it's quite translucent. But going right over top of where I had all of the white paint originally. And then I'm taking a wet baby wipe and wiping away the paint that is showing through the stencil. So I'll end up with a stencil image of that purple paint. Maybe it's Periwinkle. I don't normally use those two colors together, but I'm quite liking that combination. And then I decided that while my stencil and my paint are out and I got that extra paint, I'll just add some of that color onto the stencil as well. This time not using a baby wipe, so I'm kind of doing it in the opposite direction. Where in the journal I painted the purple solid and then wiped it away on the stencil, and then on the tag I'm putting the paint through the stencil. So now I'm just looking through my stencils and deciding what other kind of designs I might like on there. Looking for something that would be kind of a smaller pattern, so I'm pulling out some potentials. You can see they're all well loved. I use my stencils a lot. And then in the end, I decided to go with this other circle stencil. So this, I'm going through it with some white paint again, just to kind of calm down the background. Kind of bring the white back out to the surface again. And by now my collage paper is getting pretty hidden, but you do see little pieces of it poking through. The pages would be quite different if I had them all pre-planned, but when I art journal, I just start putting down layers and it just transforms, takes on a life of its own, and I just really enjoy the process. So between all of these layers, I am drying it with a heat tool. And then I'm just going in and adding some white on that tag as well. And here I took a little bit of that purple. I had still some white on my paintbrush. sprayed out some water, and I really watered it down so it's like I'm putting a wash over the page, and it just kind of calms down all those images. I don't know, I'm just playing around, seeing what different things might happen. And then because that was very wet, I totally dried it first, and now I'm taking this small alphabet stamp set, and rather than using the alphabet to spell out words, I'm just stamping the whole alphabet just to get some black text in the background. And then here I'm taking one of the little Tim Holtz stencils that's got like little X's all over it and just putting some black paint through there. The black just gives it a nice contrast from the other colors and, you know, makes a little bit of a pop there. So just put that randomly here and there. And I do like to have some of that design again, crossing the ditch between the pages so that it just brings it all in as to one large project rather than two separate pages. And then I'll put a little bit of that black on the tag as well. In the end, I end up using this tag as part of this page project, but at the time it was just a way to use up my extra paints. So it doesn't hurt to have a tag on the side that you can use in the future, but as you'll see in this case, I ended up actually using it on the project. So here I'm taking out some clear acetate sheets. This is from a local Canadian company, and cutting out the portions of those acetate designs that I may use on the page. So it's got these really neat footprints, and it's got some fingerprints, which are kind of my favorite. And then some a nice quote on there as well. Leave your mark. Something about leaving your mark. So I decided that the footprints on that acetate sheet I would attach to the page with washi tape and kind of have that as a flap that would open up. But of course the washi tape is not permanent. It comes up really easy, and especially if I was using it here as a hinge, it's just not going to stay. So I'm putting the fluid matte medium underneath the washi tape, and that is just going to make it stay permanently. So I've just created a hinge there out of decorative washi tape, but of course now from the front you're actually seeing the back side of the washi. So I've decided to put some more washi tape over top of it, and it'll just make that hinge twice as strong. So again, I used fluid matte medium to glue that washi tape down so it would stay permanent. And then I have used some more fluid matte medium. I'm just going to put the other half of that strip of washi tape onto my next page. Whatever project I do on the next page, I'll just paint over and cover that up anyways. And then just using a baby wipe to take away any of the extra adhesive that might have been sticking out, just to keep it kind of clean so my pages don't glue together. And then this sentiment that says leave your mark, I'm putting some of the paint onto the back of it, and that's going to help it really stand out from the rest of your page. Now, when you're using a heat gun on acetate, remember, it's plastic, it'll curl, it'll warp, so you just want to go really easy with the heat gun. And you can see with that paint behind there, now you can just really see the words, and your eye is really drawn to that. It gives me a focal point for the page, actually. And I really like this color combination. That's something I'll use again in the future. And here I'm just auditioning where's the best place to put it, and is there room for some more of these acetate embellishments. And I decided that I was going to use the large fingerprints. I really like the fingerprints, especially if they're so huge, but I just find them really interesting. So I roughly cut those out into basic ovals. Really easy to cut the acetate. And then I'm going to add those onto my page eventually. Just figuring out where's good spots to put them. I do like to use things in odd numbers, so having 3 works really well for me. Just checking where I can get them all to fit in. Do I put them under the flap? Not really sure the point of the flap there. And eventually I changed my mind with it anyways, but you know, it was an idea to start with. So again, using a fluid matte medium, just getting all of these acetate pieces to stick down and putting it right behind the fingerprints there as well. Even though you can see through the acetate, you'll see the glue right now while it's white, but when it dries, it's going to dry clear, and it'll also dry matte so that it's not even glossy looking when it's dry. So it works perfectly for behind these acetate images. And then I'm just taking a black Zig marker, and for a bit of a border, making a black line which is purposely crooked. I don't want to have to use a ruler or be exactly straight, so I do it slightly squiggly so that it looks like it's meant to be that way. No need for perfection. And then the opposite end of the Zig pen is a wider nib, and so I can use that to put this nice black border around the edge of the acetate. It just kind of finishes off that sentiment there, I think. And here's where I've decided, oh, maybe I can do something with a tag. So it matches the page, maybe I can incorporate it, maybe I can hide it behind the acetate. Not really sure what I'm doing with that footprint flap there. I'm not real happy with it as a flap. So here I've pulled out the Zig marker again, and I'm just doing some journaling on the tag itself, which it gives you a journaling spot, but it also, the black handwriting in there just adds some more black text into the project. And then taking a look at the back of my tag, decide, oh, maybe I should do something with that since I'm actually using it in the project, rather than just leave it white. And it turns out it fits behind that piece of acetate. So here I'm just covering up the back so that it's not just solid white there. And decided that that acetate flap could become an acetate pocket for my tag to fit into. And then with some of the footprints that were left over from the acetate sheet, I'm just stapling them onto the back of the tag, just, I guess, as a place to put them. A little bit of interest when you pull the tag out that there's something back there. And I'm attaching that with a stapler. And I attached it so that the staples were showing on the front of the tag, and I put this two staples crisscross, so it's like a little X set of staples, so that becomes another little design element on there. And then to close up that flap and turn it into a pocket, I just added a strip of washi tape that has a color that kind of coordinates, and there you can see how easy it is to pull that washi tape back up again, so it would never stay there permanently as a pocket. It would just keep coming off, so that's why I'm adding some of that matte medium behind it so that it makes it a permanent pocket. I think that is pretty much it, other than I do eventually add some ribbon in there, and there's some close-ups of the project. Really fun working with that acetate. That's something I'll do again.